I could be her bottom and Mel could be my top, and she would pinch my nipples and I'd beg her to stop. She'd put me in bondage and have her way with me. I would be so happy, it's my Rev Mel fantasy.
Welcome back to the Rev Mel Show, and this show is all about tattoos. If you can hear the noise in the background, Captain Dave is still working on her tattoo, and it's looking incredible. And I think that Solaris has a couple questions from the chat room.
Yeah. Okie dokie. Let's see. Let me see the computer. Where did it go?
It's gone.
No, I'll find it. Hang on just 1 second.
Well, what we're going to do right now is...
Okay, here we go.
Oh, you got it?
Can the tattoo pain... Or can the tattoo artist increase or decrease the level of pain experienced by the customer without affecting the quality of the tattoo? Like jabbing in deeper if they're sadistic or something. That's from Maisha.
Yeah, you don't want to jab it in deeper. Most machines are set up so they only go so deep. It's the overworking of the area. Like if you're coloring something in and you're not just like coloring and going forward and coloring and going forward, you're just coloring in one spot. Yeah, you're gonna hurt somebody. You're gonna make their tattooing experience not so good.
Yeah, but you can't. Can you control the level of pain at all by doing that?
You can, and even by the simplest things, like just by having a conversation.
Oh, the conversation will help eliminate because they're not thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
And how deep? How many layers of skin does the needle go through?
It goes about two to three layers into the skin. I would say 2 at the most, but sometimes there's that third layer depending on your skin tissue.
And I think we have some questions from the live audience.
Yes,
Hello.
Hi. No, hi, this is Madam Christie. I just had a question regarding, I guess, what was the strangest thought process that someone shared with you about what they're going through, what they're trying to design a particular tattoo for? What was the weirdest thing you were ever told?
The weirdest thing?
Yeah, what was their inspiration behind this?
Oh man, I'm gonna have to search my files for that one because I get weird things on a daily basis. Usually, on the average, it's the really mundane stuff like this is for my parents or this is for my daughter or my wife. It's in memory of. But I mean, I've gotten stuff where it was like, people are just getting like football tattoos in memory of the Steelers. And to me, I think that's crazy. But that's just me. Band tattoos because they had such a crazy experience in college or high school that the band will always be with them forever. Those are personal preference tattoos, and there's nothing wrong with them. But in my opinion, it's kind of crazy, and well, I don't want to say the word I want to say.
Well, also one of the questions I want to ask you is, okay, let's say somebody gets something, somebody's initials on their behind or whatever, and they want you to do another tattoo over it and to create something new and different. How hard is that for you to do?
It's very difficult. It's like putting together a 1,000,000-piece puzzle. A lot of times what I do is I talk to the customer. I find out different things that they're into. I try to come up with a mental list or try to get them to come up with some type of list of 5 to 10 different things they'd rather have than what they have. Give me ideas of things that you're into. If you can't think of a design idea, I'll think of a design idea. What are your hobbies? What are your lifestyle type things to do? And then of course we go back to what are your favorite kind of music and kind of cars you like. And it's like you start to pick up like a certain kind of personality from the person, and you either A, are going to come up with a really cool design that's going to fit them, and they're going to probably be way more happier. Or, they come in and say, well, look, I got 4 or 5 things I really like. And then I'll go through that and I'll make sketches to figure out which one of those things are work. Sometimes it's one of those things. Sometimes it's almost all 4 of the ideas.
Okay, you've got the sketches. Okay, now you figured out what the designs are going to be. Now, how do you figure out the placement on the body?
You want to flow with the body's muscle itself. So depending on the actual tattoo, say the butt, say it's the initials that I'm doing a cover-up. You probably want to center most of that, depending on how the tattoo is actually going to cover the old tattoo, is where it's going to be placed. But a lot of times you want to flow with the body. You do a rib cage piece, you want something that's going to go a long ways. You want an arm piece, you want it to flow with the muscle tone that you actually have. You know, it makes the tattoo stand out that much better, and it looks that much cooler.
Has there been any? Is there like competitions?
Lately there has been. There's been this thing called Tattoo Wars. I saw it on TV not too long ago. It's really cool. It's usually they pick a couple artists that know each other and that are friends, you know. And each one will have a similar style or a completely different style. And the one I saw was two guys who had a similar style. And what they did was they had a meeting with the guy, and one guy started a sleeve on him. And then later that week, the other guy went to the other guy and got his sleeve started. And it got to the point where they left a certain spot on the arm. And they did it at like a tattoo convention. They finished the piece, the little pieces on each side, and they had a curtain covering it.
Oh, wow.
So either one couldn't see like the piece they were doing.
Have you ever been in any sort of competition like that?
No, not like that. I mean, I've had my tattoos, like my customers go in and put themselves in a contest, tattoo contest, you know, tattoo conventions. Which I actually, you know, I've gotten a 3rd place for a back piece. I was up against some really good pieces though.
Well, 3rd place is pretty good though.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, that noise still scares me. It's like, oh my God, no.
Yeah, I've had handfuls of people like Tattoo the Day contest, back piece contest, black and gray.
Do you know what was if you can recall, what was the most unusual design that you've ever had to do besides the
Yum Yum?
Yum Yum. Yeah.
You know,
You're never going to forget Yum Yum.
A tattoo down there. And it was a military girl.
Oh, you know what? Hold that story for a second. We have a caller. Hold on one second. Hello, it's Rev Mel. May I help you?
Hey, it's Dove again.
Hey, Dove.
Hey.
You kind of can't leave. You kind of want us, don't you?
And kind of shortly go over the new pneumatic air guns and what the difference is between that and the electric machines.
Okay, that's a great question.
Thank you.
Thank you, honey. Have a great
Bye,
baby.
I haven't used the pneumatic machines yet. They're powered by air. What it is, I believe it's a little plastic chuck that takes place of the machine, and then you put the tube and needle into it, and you run an air hose. And you usually have to run an air hose through the ceiling, or because you don't want it running through the ground of the tattoo shop. And it runs back to a generator that just blows air. It's more of a constant stream with machines. You know, anything electronic, it's going to have its little stutters, and depending on what kind of power you're using, you know, it'll increase and decrease in volts. It's definitely a more solid flow as far as your needle moving into the skin. I haven't tried it yet because I'm kind of a stickler for my tattoo machine.
Yeah.
For my old machines, because I collect them and I've got plenty of. I don't know. I just don't know if I want to switch over just yet.
Oh,
I'm willing.
She's got to put the mic near her mouth. She's moaning again. She's incoherent. But it's in your boobs. But if you're in the chat room, please call us at 818-731-7942. We would love to hear from you. But I want to ask you a question while we're waiting to see for the many callers that are going to be calling in. Where do you think in the world that the tattoos are most accepted?
As I said earlier, cities, the United States, a lot more accepted, I believe. Europe, I've noticed that Europe's getting the big tattoo bang right now out there. And
Europe is?
Yeah, they're creating their own tattoo magazines, conventions. I mean, it's been kind of going out there for a few years. You know, Amsterdam had a tattoo museum and stuff like that. But I believe it's getting even way more acceptable. I'd say United States and Europe, definitely.
I would also have to say some of the African tribes, it's part of their culture. It's part of their way of living. They tattoo the face. They do scarification. They'll tattoo the body.
Yeah.
For many, many years, hundreds of years probably, it's been accepted in African culture.
More accepted.
Well, speaking of scarring and let's talk about branding. Do you do any branding?
No, I don't.
Okay, so
I don't do any other kind of body mods other than tattooing.
Okay, great. Have you ever considered having one done to you?
A branding?
Uh-huh.
No, I've never liked them.
You never liked the way
they don't heal even. They don't look as good as like I would want that to look.
Yeah.
So
Now, you were going to
It's too
start
unstable.
your story about the military girl?
Oh,
I want to hear about the military.
Yeah, we totally
Before
love to
I
hear that.
officially started tattooing, I went into the military. I was in the Army for 3 years. That's kind of where the captain also stems from. I wasn't an officer, though. Well, when I got out of the military, there was a shop I used to work at, or I used to hang out at a lot, in and around the place where I was stationed at. So I went back there and worked for a year after I'd been tattooing for a couple of years. When I was there, this girl came in, a little pissed off, a little unnerved. I believe she was bitching about something about her date flaked on her, or the guy was an asshole or something. She really wanted to get tattooed. So she's going through the books, and lo and behold, she sees this Japanese-style mask that's tattooed on a girl's vagina, basically. Where the
These
mouth
vaginas, I
is
swear.
the mouth is the vagina itself.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, that's really cool." And I'm like, all right. Kind of talking to her, trying to figure out what she might want to do, or if she's just hanging out, because she's in a bad mood. Within minutes, she had me draw up a kind of vampire werewolf mixture of a creature with hands like next to its face, like this. And I proceeded to tattoo it down there.
Can you imagine some guy surprised when he's going to go down on her?
I
and
told
all
her when I was tattooing, I'm like, this is great. Remind me never to go on a date with you. And she's like, why? And I'm like, I could just see me going, maybe possibly getting lucky at the end of the night. And it's like 2 or 3 in the morning. And then all of a sudden I'm like, I got to go pick up my dry cleaning. I got to get out of here. I'm sorry. I totally forgot.
Slurs?
There's actually a question for the audience, and our audience mic isn't really working too well. But can you ask, or what kind of marking can somebody expect from inkless tattooing?
Kind of pretty much nothing after it heals. It's going to look like a light scratch, kind of like you got scratched by your cat or something like that. But then it'll fade after time. It takes 4 to 6 weeks, roughly, for a tattoo to heal. So any kind of damage to your skin, it's somewhere between 3 and 6 weeks. It's going to take to heal.
Well, since we're talking about healing, let's talk about how we are to protect it and how we are to take care of it after we get a tattoo. Because I think it's very, very important to know how to take care of a tattoo after you have had it done.
Well, the first process would be, after the client's happy with the tattoo, we wrap it in some type of bandage, whether it be a regular cellophane, so you can actually see the tattoo, so you're not pulling the bandage off to show your friends every 5 minutes.
So you can wrap cellophane around it?
Yes, it creates a barrier. It can't really get through it unless you puncture the barrier.
Is this cellophane that's sanitary? I mean, cool.
It's clean. We wrap the tattoo. You leave the bandage on for anywhere from an hour or 2, depending. Or if it's late night, I would always suggest keeping it on overnight. Some shops are open really late at night, and people go home and go straight to bed, and it keeps their sheets clean. After when you take the bandage off, within a few hours of the next morning, you're going to wash the tattoo with an antibacterial soap. I usually just tell everybody liquid dial, which is really good. But there are other soaps. Like my shop provides, we sell a Provon soap, which is an antimicrobial.
And what is an blah, 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 blah.
It will just clean. It'll clean all pieces of virus, things that aren't supposed to be on your skin or in your tattoo, dust, dirt, bacteria. Yeah.